Welcome to the show. I'm your host, as always, Jonathan Giles. On this week's show, we'll be giving our Emirates best Premier League 11 from 2006 to the present day. On Wednesday's show, I'll be joined by regular guest Matt Bourne and by special guest Liam Gardner from the North Bank Summit podcast to review tomorrow night's Premier League away clash to Nottingham Forest. So sit back and enjoy the show. On the show this week, I'm joined by my regular guests, Michael D. Higgins sidekick, Eamon Donnelly. How are you?
I am fine, Jonathan. I am the president of
Evening, Jonathan. I was going to watch Salem's Lot in the Mountain Atlantis, but I decided to come on the show.
Hope you're keeping well, pal. Good to have you on. I'm also joined by my UK-based gooner, Carl Ozzy Osborne. How are you, Carl?
I'm all good, fella. How are you?
Not too bad, Carl. Thanks for coming on tonight. Unfortunately, we were meant to have Craig Smith, but he had to collect the missus and let the dog out the back.
He's over in Barcelona at the moment.
He's finishing the season.
Another meltdown on the thread last night about Mickey Arteta leaving. And all these Arteta out people were all panicking that he might be going to Barcelona. Including yourself, Jonathan. I'm telling you.
I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up.
Obviously, Stitches reading that. I couldn't reply.
No, but listen, we have it dealt with now. It's dealt with. It's all okay. All right.
Fake news.
I just want to ask Eamon, would he like anything to say about Merton Stumble putting bookies odds in the group?
Well, you see, the bookies don't always get it right. If the bookies always got it right, nobody would win anything.
Yeah, I don't really want to speculate on that, but I can't see that.
It's not happening, so we're all good. Move on.
If everyone listened to Eamon,
everything be okay. Yeah.
I don't know that coach at Villa's doing all right, isn't he? What's his name?
Ernie, can't remember his assistant, Carl. I don't know who the main manager is, but I don't know.
Good manager at Villa.
I'm actually hoping that
you're going to ring. Will I do the jaw? To the jaw. Just need a baseball cap to top her off now.
I heard George Ellacobi from Maidstone United is available. Yeah, I think this should be a good show. I think Eamon's on top form already. As I said on tonight's show, it's the Emirates best 11 Premier League 11 from our years at the Emirates Stadium, which we moved in incredibly near 18 years ago now, 2006. And it's coming 2 years' time will be the 20th anniversary of moving there, which is crazy. The years are just flying. The way we're going to do it, folks, is we're going to do it position by position. So I'm going to get everyone's from goalkeeper down to attacker. So I'll begin with goalkeeper. So from the years of 2006 to present, I'll start with you, Eamon. Who is your Emirates best goalkeeper?
Well, okay. My greatest Arsenal goalkeeper of all time is Jens Lehmann, but he only played one season at the Emirates and he wasn't in the best form at that time.
Yeah.
So I didn't. He's one of my all-time heroes, but I didn't do that. So I went for Szczesny.
Yeah.
And I think he was a brilliant goalkeeper. I'd love to see how we do in the modern game with all the kind of passing out from the back and stuff. But he kind of lost his way a small bit and then reinvented himself when he went away. But to me, and he was the best we had, and he was a great kid who came up through the Arsenal. And Liam Brady actually went to his family to persuade him to stay at the Arsenal when he was homesick, because Liam thought this guy is the real deal. So I'm going to give it to Szczesny, a great character and still a gooner to this day. You know. Yeah,
from 2009 to 2017. 132 appearances he made for the Gunners. Yeah, he's actually my goalkeeper as well, Amy, believe it or not. I think it's true that he broke both his arms, didn't he? From, I think it was in mid-season, from bulking up. I think I read something about that when he was younger. I think
He
he was
might have
at.
broke both his arms, but smoking in the shower wasn't his best move, you know.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know if you agree, but the loan spells he had beforehand, before he became the number one, really done him the world of good, didn't it? Go in the lower down in the championship. He played for Brentford, was it?
I just thought he had a great presence in the box.
Yeah.
You know, and he was the real deal. And look,
Yeah.
and I think Gunners to this day still love him. So he's my choice.
Yeah, 5-6 heads, he's mine as well. So that boxes mine off as well. Carl, who is yours?
It's going to be really boring, isn't it? No, I've gone for someone different. I went for Mark Poom. I'm joking. I did go for Mark Poom. I did go for Jens Lehmann initially. So similar to Eamon, sort of. I saw Jens Lehmann played at the Emirates, and then naturally, yeah, when you do look through it, he weren't there that long. So I think Szczesny is a fan favourite. He was quality when he left too soon. Left way too soon. I was gutted when he left.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm going to make a bit of a nod to Fabianski as well, out of that era as well.
Absolutely.
We had two fantastic keepers, and Fabianski's gone on to be, I think, a very successful goalkeeper in the Premier League, who's still, he's still a great goalkeeper now. So I think a nod to Szczesny, really, to keep them two fighting for a place. It's almost like, it's very similar to Ray Ramsdale, isn't it? We've got two really good goalkeepers. And we had to let one. Ultimately, we let Szczesny. Well, they both ended up going, didn't they? But it's I just think Szczesny for me, legend of a lad, and what a great goalkeeper he was for us. And like I say, I personally was gutted when he went, and he went. When he went to Juve, he replaced like Buffon, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, not replaced him, but succeeded. And that says a lot for someone. How good he must have been to have done that. So fair play to him.
Yeah, top Polish international as well, has to be said. Himself and Fabianski goes to show how well they've done in terms of club.
Actually, just to mention that, Jonathan, for our older viewers, the Fabianski Szczesny thing at Poland was a bit like Clemens and Shilton in the 70s and 80s. Like Shilton got about 488 caps and Clemens got about 340. Like, imagine what they would, there were two really good goalkeepers. You're dead right, Carl. Fabianski was a decent goalkeeper. Probably a bit nervous when he was at us because he was only starting out. But I'm delighted he made a good career for himself because he was a top guy,
Yeah.
There was another keeper I was actually looking at as well, lads. He had his bad moments as well, but Manuel Almunia, I thought, was an okay goalkeeper.
No, he was shocking. He was shocking. No. He cost us. The year we should have won the title against. The year we should have won the title against the Head in 07-08. If we'd had Jens Lehmann in goal, we would have won the final. Yeah. Hands down. Yeah.
Almunia
was crap.
All he got out of Arsenal really was, supposed at the end of the day, was a dodgy heart, and it made him retire early.
No, he was crap.
I have to say, Wojciech Szczesny for myself and Eamon and Carl was a good shout as well, Carl, in your pick. My right back, I'll start with myself this time. Bakary Sagna, 2007 to 2014, 213 apps and 4 goals. I thought on his day he was pretty solid. And going to Man City left a bit of bitter taste in my mouth, but I always thought he was a good pro, and he was just so strong. He was just so strong as a right back physically, and so athletic. So I'd give him my right back spot. Eamon, you're right back for the Emirates?
Bakary Sagna all day long. Yeah. No competition. The nearest you could come is Ben.
Ben White. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the nearest you could come is Ben, but Bakary Sagna all day long. And you know what? And I won't keep you on this one. When we won the cup against Hull in 2014, he lay down on his knees and punched the air. He'd won a trophy at the Arsenal after all his efforts during the bad times. He was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I heard him, and a real top pro as well, and said loves the Arsenal as well. Yeah,
he say he loves the Arsenal, doesn't he? And he's awesome.
Yeah, he through the bad years, he said with his aiming, and it took 7 years to get a trophy right at the end of his career at the Arsenal, so well deserved. Yeah, Carl, you're right back.
It's boring, Sagna. There's no back and factory Sagna, but yeah, but like I say, like Amy said, Ben White. I think we also need to remember that Bellerin. I think he had a pretty good stint at right back for us. He didn't materialise what we at the end towards the end, did he? But I think you know, I do think Bellerin was he was a hell of a right back for us as well. So he was close to me. It was between Bellerin, Sagna, and White for me. But no, I agree. I think it's a good choice. This is, it'd be interesting though when we go to left back, because that's not as easy, is it?
But Carl, just as you mentioned, Hector, I was at the game at home to Chelsea. You probably were yourself when he done his cruise at that time. He wasn't the same player after that.
No, and he was solid, wasn't he? When he came on the scene, I remember when. You know, he's been linked to a lot of bigger clubs, wasn't he? Barcelona at the time were after him, and it just never really worked out. I know he went there, but it never really worked out for him, did it?
But he was going on one of these sprints down the right-hand side. I was in the clock end, and I saw him with that knee injury, and he just pulled up. He was never the same player after that, you know?
Yeah, they never are, sadly. I remember actually when he first burst on briefly, it was in the Emirates Cup. I think it was against Benfica when Sanogo got a hat-trick. I think we won 5 or 6 now. But I said, this is some player.
You've trapped me on my striker at the Emirates now. Damn.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing, Karen's done a lot of research into this best 11. We'll start at left back, and my pick for this. Please, hopefully you don't have it. Gay Clichy, 2003 to 2011, 187 appearances and 1 goal, as just like Bakary Sagna, French, but solid, athletic, and very rarely put a foot wrong aside from the time he slipped against Spurs in the 4-4 draw that led to 4-3. But aside from that, no, really good left back at the Emirates. I'll start with you, Carl. Your left back.
I've gone for Gael Clichy as well. Again, I don't think we had much choice for this one, really, to be honest. I think there's some good servants at the club in terms of Nacho Monreal. I think he was a good servant to the club, but was he the best left back? No. And then I think for me, the recent Tierney, Zinni, and Gibbs are the only one. There's not much you can choose from. But I think Gael Clichy, again, I think how good he was when he sort of came in and replaced Cole and the likes. We've always had a good left back, and I thought he came in, did the job, didn't he?
Yeah, he was a good replacement for Ashley Cole, actually, in terms of his pace and his defensive abilities as well. Yeah, it was like a clone nearly, wasn't it? Yeah. Eamon, your left back.
Well, the first name I put down on my team sheet was Clichy.
Yeah.
And then I struck it off. Because I began to think about that. I love Monreal. What a servant for the club he was.
Yeah.
And never forget the goal he scored in the FA Cup semi-final against Manchester City. Coming at the back post. But I actually scrubbed both of them off. And this is controversial now. I went for Zinchenko. And I'll tell you why. Because of the excitement that he gave us last year.
Okay.
It was a total new dimension to anything we'd ever done. So I'm sticking with it.
Good on you. No, it's good.
I'm going for Zinchenko on that one.
Yeah, fair play. Mark off what he done against Salah at Anfield, but a very good pick. Now, last season.
Yeah, how many people do things against Salah at Anfield? Salah's a machine,
Yeah.
And he's not a conventional left full, and I get all that. Yeah. But for the excitement that, if you think of the excitement that we had at the Arsenal last year when Zinchenko arrived, he was just absolutely brilliant. And for his impact in that short space of time, I'm going for Zinchenko.
Yeah.
Yeah, for all the big players that were signed last summer, Zinchenko wouldn't have really stood out, but he certainly was one of them that stood out. Yeah. Very solid player, and one that Arteta really likes. That's our goalkeeper, right back and left back sorted. So onto the 2 centre backs. My first pick for centre back is Lauren Koscielny from 2010 to 2019, 255 appearances and 22 goals. I thought he was really old school, solid centre back. Didn't mind putting his head in where it hurts, and made many a vital block and tackle. So I'd go with Kilshenley. Eamon, your centre back choice?
Well, my first centre back, Kilshenley.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I remember Arsblog saying, "I'd love to have his kids." That tells you all you need to know. Like, against Hull in the, we were 2-0 down in a cup final we had to win, and Santi got the goal back and blah blah. But it was 66 minutes before we. And
got
the bravery, he was just brave. He was Tony Adams light, but Tony Adams and he was a great footballer too, and a great attitude. Kilshenley for me all day long.
Yeah, good shout, him. Carl, your fourth centre back.
I'm gonna be different. Different. So I did have Koscielny down, and I think it was the way he left for me. Where he did that social media clip. So that's why I scrubbed him off. But Thomas Vermaelen.
Yeah, good show. Yeah, for
me.
the Verminator.
There's something about him. I liked him as a player. I liked he could hit it with his left leg as well, couldn't he? Something I just liked about him. He had a bit of fight. He weren't the same when he left us, was he really? But
no.
He excited me, and he's someone that stood out. And I went, God, I miss watching him play. He was tough as boots. He was, for me. I remember, just thinking I love to watch him play, and I'd love to see him in this side.
Do you remember how we signed him, Carl?
I don't, off the top of my head. No.
We played a pre-season friendly against Ajax, and he did a bit of violence to Van Persie.
Right.
And Van Persie recommended him as a centre half.
Right, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And what I say about Thomas, as a guy who, as I said, I was okay with a footballer, more Merlot than Perlo, as I've said before. But to me, Thomas got sucked into danger too much and didn't see the game as well as other people did. I thought Kilshenley saw the game a small bit better, but Vermaelen was a great player and tough as old boots. But to me, he got caught out of position too much.
I just remember with him those tackles he used to make. They used to make you sort of Oh, no, he's going for it. Similar to how Saliba does, He used to make those last little tackles, but he'd leave his foot in as well, wouldn't he? And that's I remember it used to excite the crowd. It used to get people up on his knee. God, and put it this way: if you had a 50-50 with him near the byline, it was only one way that was going to end up, wasn't it? The player was on it.
I can have that. Yeah, I can have that.
Yeah. So there you go. So there's mine, Vermaelen, Thomas Vermaelen.
Yeah, good show. I nearly forget about it, actually. Yeah, he scored many an important goal as well. Yeah. My second centre back pick is our current day one. William Saliba. I think 48 appearances and 3 goals. The standout, obviously, is the Bournemouth goal away, but just for his athleticness, the way he tracks back, he can catch anyone of any pace, but he just reads the game so well, and he's not afraid to put his foot or head in. So I'm going to give it to William Saliba. A defender I think we'll have for hopefully many a year. I'll go to you again, Eamon. Your second centre back pick?
William Saliba, world class. Our Virgil van Dijk, full stop. No question. Yeah,
I think that was typified at Anfield when he tracked back that time. Yeah, it's just incredible. Yeah, he came from nowhere.
No question. Our Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah.
William Saliba.
Great pick. OZZY, your second centre back?
It's the Rolls Royce, William Saliba.
Yeah,
he's class, isn't he?
Yeah.
And that's when I looked at the team sheet I'd done. Put Vermaelen and Saliba. You just wouldn't want to play against them, would you? As a striker, you'd play right back if you had them two marking you, wouldn't you? He's brilliant. He's class, isn't he? And I just hope we can keep him for a while. Because
we keep him for a long time.
He's that good. He's that good. It did make me think, actually, looking at the list of centre backs I sort of shortlisted for this as well. We didn't have much choice, did we? Centre backs been a problem at the Emirates, isn't it?
That's been really the problem. That was the position we had to cover for many a season. I think Gabriel and Saliba.
Gabriel is good.
It was a close one, to be honest. It was between Saliba and Gabriel, but I thought I'd pick out Saliba because his progression over the 3 seasons, 2 and a bit seasons he's been with us. But I think the loan spells at Nice and Marseille has done him the world of good. You know, he's come back to their
Cola Toure as well.
Yeah, no, yeah. Fair Mertesacker.
I was never. Well, Mertesacker just a legend. I don't think he was that good of a player, but he's just a legend, you know. And Cola Toure, I never fancied Cola Toure as a centre half, you know.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, he done a job, didn't he? Like
Cola Toure was a brilliant player, but I never fancied him as a centre half. He was brilliant in the Invincibles team when he had Sol Campbell beside him. But I don't think he was a centre half, you know.
It's his decision making sometimes, wasn't it? It was a bit, it was almost like he's got a bit carried away sometimes, wasn't it? A bit excited sometimes.
Bit excited. Sure, who wouldn't play for the Arsenal car? Look at the Boué. Couldn't hit a burned over the machine.
Hey, leave a Boué alone.
Oh,
don't blame it on the sunshine.
We got plenty of booze.
Don't blame it on the moonlight. Don't blame it on a good time. Blame it on a Boué.
I have to say that for Moretti is going down the tree tonight.
No, I'm on the Guinness.
It's just short and snappy the way Eamon breaks things up. I like it. We kick on to the midfield. My formation certainly is 4-3-3, so I've gone with 3 midfielders with this one. My fourth pick is Santi Cazorla.
But you see, this is where the show gets controversial. So you need to probably pick 3 and explain why, because we've different formations, you know.
Yeah,
I've just gone for the attacking sense of just the creativity for the 3 midfielders I picked. Santi Cazorla will be my fourth pick. Joined in 2012 and left in 2018. 129 appearances and 25 goals. I just thought he was brilliant, you know. He's just a magician. Like, he just could create things, just glide, you know, he could just glide around the midfield, and it was just beautiful to watch, you know. For a short space of time, every Gooner still remembers him, you know. Just such a legend. That's really my pick of him. And obviously the goal against Anfield in 2012 with Podolski away from home really cemented that, you know. Eamon, your pick for midfield?
Well, okay. Well, if we're going to do one at a time, Santi Cazorla for sure.
Yeah.
Bit like myself. Genius. Santi Cazorla was a genius.
Yeah. Wizard.
And what he did was he got the ball. You didn't know whether he was left footed or right footed. He was a little tiny fellow who carried a bit of weight, by the way, you know, for the size.
Yeah.
But he had everything. And his big trick was he got to the ball to the important players quicker than anybody else. And if we had Santi Cazorla in our team, we'd win the Premier League this year.
Yeah. I think definitely the standing moment for me, Eamon and Curl, the free kick against Hull City in the FA Cup final to get us back into it.
Yeah, but that's populism, Jonathan. That's you remembering the great goal. But it's the little touches that he did.
World class.
Like when Mesut Ozil was playing in the team, Mesut needed the ball early to his feet before he was kind of killed in traffic. Cazorla always got the ball to Ozil straight away.
Yeah,
you know, he was one of the quickest thinkers I've ever seen on a football pitch. And an absolute brilliant player. I hope he comes back to the Arsenal in some capacity, you know.
Yeah, I heard there's 2 days left the transfer window, so you never know.
Yeah.
Santi, are you listening? An early Christmas present. Carl, your fourth midfielder?
Right, so my first midfielder, I benched Cazorla because he had a slight niggle. So I've gone with Fabregas as my first. Cesc Fabregas, just because, again, another player I thought was fantastic.
But this is where it gets complicated because he's my other one.
Well, yeah, because we were blessed. Well, firstly, let's say we were blessed with centre midfielders.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
I think when I look down this list, you know, there's some cracking. I won't say until we've done our next choice. But when you look for a list of centre midfielders that played at Emirates, we're absolutely blessed with players. And as much as I love Santi Cazorla, and I do love Santi Cazorla, I tried to pick, but Fabregas for me, he gave me so many good memories as well of goals he scored. Watching him come in as a young lad, with a ridiculous haircut, if you remember, when he first broke in the scene, we just watched him grow.
It was kind of one of those King, that's what my love. Remember that?
It was
fun now, love and pride. It was kind of
it was
kind of a Paul King or whatever his name was. Yeah. It wasn't Martin King that was the weather. I think it was Paul King. Yeah.
He was one, but he was class, wasn't he? And I know some Arsenal fans have objections about where he went in the rest of his career. You know what? When he went to Barcelona, I was supportive of him. He supported Barcelona as a lad. You couldn't deny him that. And my only regret is we didn't re-sign him. That was a big regret of mine.
That was our son's stubbornness. We should have got Fabregas back.
Yeah, because we wouldn't even be talking about but he went to Chelsea, model professional. I think he won things up there, didn't he? But Cesc Fabregas for me, he
wanted to come back to the Arsenal. Cesc Fabregas is a gooner, and before we carry on this conversation, my middle two were Cazorla and Fabregas, and let's just talk about Fabregas for a minute. I'm always talking about Declan not receiving the ball on the half turn.
Yeah.
Fabregas received the ball on the entire turn. He was the perfect midfielder. He had wing mirrors, right? And just anecdotally, I'll give you a story. We were playing Hull City one day, excuse me, and Bakary Sagna hit the ball to him twice or three times, and he gave it back, and the crowd began to groan. And the third or fourth time Sagna hit it back to him, Fabregas turned around and the whole pitch was open. That's simple stuff that people don't see. So forget all the goals and all the great stuff. Johnny Giles thought Fabregas was the best midfielder he'd seen in the modern era. And that says something, because Johnny does know his football. He was a great midfielder himself. Fabregas to me was a jewel in the crown for the Arsenal. So my middle two, if we're talking about this in the round, would be Fabregas and Cazorla. So sorry, Carl, I took
no, absolutely. And this is what it's all about, isn't it? Because it's great that we're admiring him, because I know Arsenal fans have some weird obsession with not liking him because of what he did at Chelsea.
No,
it's ridiculous.
Not really,
absolutely ridiculous. No, he's a proper. Yeah, Arsenal. Don't forget, we rejected him the second time, and this guy done some great stuff. It's brought a lot of good memories to me. I look back at the fixtures where some of the goals he scored as well. He was the first name in my midfield when I wrote this down, without even looking at the options. So yeah.
I just want to give a shout out to probably our greatest ever midfielder, Gilberto.
Exactly. He was on there shortly.
But he didn't play that much at the Emirates. He was kind of coming to the end of his Arsenal career. But I'm not going to be name dropping, but I've had the pleasure of being in company of Ray Parler a number of times, and he says, the players that we had, right, Romford, he says, he always references Gilberto. What a player he was, so. To me, Gilberto was a Rolls Royce in midfield, but again, we're talking about Emirates. He only played one season, but just want to get that shout in.
Yeah, no, it's a great shout.
What has to be said as well, a big shout out to Gilberto actually getting the first Premier League goal at the Emirates against Aston Villa. I think he actually only played that season. Actually, I think he might have been gone.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it so memorable times though at the Emirates, at the Ivory, many Champions League night he turned it on. Yeah, kind of an unsung hero because there were so many good players in that winning squad. Yeah, so he's took my pick there for my second midfielder, Cesc Fabregas as well. 2003 to 2011, 212 appearances and 35 goals for the Arsenal. So And many of those 35 goals were really important ones as well, match-winning ones as well. Yeah, but what a find he was, what a find from Wenger. And I don't, as Carl says, I don't really get why a lot of Arsenal fans hate. I know he moved to Chelsea, but look, we turned him down, as you said. But look, in our eyes, he's an Arsenal legend, and
exactly. I think most Arsenal fans know exactly what Cesc Fabregas is.
Yeah.
I think he deserves his own statue. At the River Bar and I don't move on to my.
Who's their second choice?
My second choice, I didn't have my second choice yet. I went for Declan. Rice.
Declan, yeah.
And I know.
Just stop the lights. Too early.
And he's just, for me. He's in that level of Williams Saliba.
He's been with us half a season. Would you get up out of that?
That's enough for me. Honestly.
Say, at the end of the day, Declan, learn your trade. Get on with it.
No, I think, to be honest with you, I think that is a big show card, but I think he's fitted into the Arsenal team, hasn't he?
He looks like he's been there years. And for me, it's just the excitement. Honestly, central midfield is what I used to play. As you know, I was a Merlot in midfield. he's just so
Merlot in midfield.
He is just so good.
So what are you saying? Declan Merlot is your
Declan Merlot. If I was a player, I'll be.
Sorry, I think Karen's middle name is Merlot Osborne. Sorry, you might have got that. We're getting that out of the way with tonight. It's Karl Merlot Osborne.
No, we love Declan. Declan's brilliant, but I'm not sure he's done enough just yet to.
You know what? One thing that stood out for me was just like, if Fabregas and Rice played together, what would that, for me? Yeah. What would that look like? And then I think to myself, actually, when I've seen Declan Rice play against the Arsenal with West Ham shirts at the Emirates, he's been one player I've always said he's out of our league. We'll never get a player like that. What a player! And you know what? I just love to see him in an Arsenal shirt. And I know he'll come well. I don't need to say I know he'll come good, because he really has. But he's just someone I'd love to see in this team that I've put together. So yeah, I'll stick with it as much as. But I'll bench Cazorla because he's got a niggle anyway. So.
And don't you leave my third midfield pick to the end, because I've just got the three midfielders. So I'm going to go to Eamon, your third pick.
You see, I've gone kind of a different formation. So my third one is Mesut Ozil.
Eamon.
What? Sorry, Jonathan. What?
You've after taking my third pick.
Yeah, well, Mesut Ozil. Mesut Ozil. People forget, because it ended so sour, how good he was between 2013 and 2018.
He was brilliant.
Yeah, he was class.
And you have to remember, he came from Real Madrid, and there's a song here in this. And the song in the Gunner at the time, and remember, Gareth Bale went to Madrid, right? Mesut Ozil, he's a superstar from Germany. Madrid went and sold him and replaced him with a chimpanzee. So, Mesut Ozil was an artist. Okay, people used to give out about he doesn't track back. Of course he doesn't track back. I don't want Mesut Ozil tracking back. I want Mesut Ozil painting pictures and doing things, right? He was brilliant for us for about 4 or 5 years. He was a joy to watch, and he kept us going when we weren't very good, right? Mesut Ozil for me.
I'm going to name drop there, Eamon, just similar to how you did with Ray Parlour, but I won't do the impression. It's Tony Adams. I won't even attempt it. But Tony Adams said to me in person, Mesut Ozil was the icing on the cake. The problem is, at Arsenal at the time, we didn't have the cake.
Didn't have the cake. Exactly. You're dead right. It's Tony Adams.
Could you say that for me? Cut me out and say that.
I'm going to play the piano. Yeah. No, but he's dead right.
Yeah. I remember being at a match, lads, 2016 it was. September 2016.
The last time we were at a game, was it?
It feels that long. It feels that long since we actually won again that I was there, yeah. I'm more of a Jonah when I go over. So last game was with Amy. We lost 3-0 to Brighton.
Yeah.
No, it was 2016. We were playing Chelsea at home, but we were 3-0 up at half time. It was the best 45 minutes I've seen And the goal Ozil scored, he just lobbed.
No, the one against Clumpity Europa League FC, whatever it was.
Oh, ludicrous.
Like,
what a finish, yeah. What a finish.
Like it's the 94th minute of the game, and we're all kind of going, Hal, will you put it in at some stage and stop playing with yourself? You know?
There's many an Arsenal Gunner fan playing with themselves after that goal. It won goal at the tournament.
This is a family show, Jonathan.
Someone actually put that goal on Pornhub. Don't tell me how I found out, but someone actually put that goal on Pornhub. But at the time, I remember it going on Twitter. It was like someone actually put it on there.
I think Eamon downloaded it a million times.
But the end of his career, I'm gonna ring a friend of mine now. Hello, Ken. What have you got to say about Ozil's career at the end? Oh, but it's so frustrating, Deirdre.
Where would you get singing appearances and Cam Barlow in one show?
Only on this podcast. Cam Barlow on Mesut Ozil.
Yeah, 2013 to 21, 184 appearances and 33 goals. Yeah, what a player. Yeah, and sadly the last 2 or 3 years just was a disappointment. But that's when the team was kind of.
The West Ham fans had the greatest song I've ever heard in my life, right? And they were singing about Ozil, right? And we like West Ham because we have a common enemy. But they said, his eyes are offside. His eyes are offside. His eyes used to stick out about 6 feet.
Imagine with VAR now, you'd never get a goal.
Yeah. VAR, yeah. Well, you know, Jared, whatever his name, Jared Australian Open. Yeah, well, his eyeball was offside. Yeah.
Mesut, are you listening? Yeah, no, they were, Cazorla, Fabregas and Ozil in midfield. Like, what can you say? Carl, your next pick for midfield?
I'm sending midfield. I've got different formations. So I've got a right winger and a left winger now. So where do you want me to go?
Left wing.
Left wing. So left wing, someone actually played there. I've got Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah, good pick. Yeah.
Because he did play left wing. I've sort of snuck in a bit of a striker in there as well, but he did play left wing as well. So yeah, I've got Alexis Sanchez because I thought when he was at Arsenal, he was absolutely amazing. Yeah. Fantastically went to United and absolutely flopped as well. But he was different level for me. And yeah, I just loved his ferocity, the way he played. He didn't stop, did he? That guy had an engine for us, and he was something special. What I'd give for. You know, well, say what I'd give for someone like he was Martinelli. You know, he's got that sort of similar sort of, but he was the finishing, the final third. What he did in the final third and that ball. Yeah. That's what gives him the edge over Martinelli from our left wing, to be honest. But there was a few good candidates for that. But yeah, and one of actually central midfielder and left winger as well also played Alexander Haled.
Yeah,
forget how good he was as well.
Yeah, as a
player.
Yeah.
And I sort of put him. You know, he made the shortlist to consider. But yeah, Alexis Sanchez, my left winger.
Yeah, Alexander Kleb. Yeah, what a player. Yeah. Eamon, your next pick.
Well, because we're doing formations here, I took a bit of poetic license and I moved a guy. He played occasionally there. I had Alexis Sanchez down. Absolutely brilliant player. Was great for us. But I went for Thomas Rosicky.
Oh, yeah.
And Thomas Rosicky was Mozart. He was just unbelievable. And for a guy who came over, he couldn't handle London at the start because it was too bright for him. Thomas liked the nightlife, I think, and he had a nasal injury for about 18 months. You know, people said he had a hamstring injury, and it wasn't that. I think Thomas fell on the wrong side of the tracks, and we really missed him. When Eduardo and him got injured in 07-08, when we were a young team like we were last season, we really missed him. But to come back the way he did from that, you think, and I'm not making any allegations here, but just think Adrian Mutu, Chelsea,
Yeah.
Thomas Rosicky, Arsenal, the way Thomas came back and really, really, really became a dedicated professional with a real football brain and always scored against Tottenham. And when he always scored against Tottenham, his job was worse than Klopp's. It was remember the time he dispossessed the Tottenham defender and just ran through in the FA Cup?
Yeah.
And it was just so, but to me, he was a fantastic player with beautiful balance. And he just edges it over Sanchez for me.
Yeah, Thomas Rosicky.
Good shout. Good shout, mate.
Alexis Sanchez was actually one of my on the left in the forward line. The three I picked up front, he was my pick as well. 2014 to 18, he played 122 appearances and 60 goals. That screamer against Villa in the 2015 FA Cup final. What a finish! And he scored a cracking goal against United as well in the Louis van Gaal years as well. Yeah. And then more good picks. So that's our midfield covered, lads, is it? I think.
I've still got a right winger.
Your right winger, sorry, Carl.
What about EAMONN? What are you, mate?
Have you covered your
right winger? Bukayo Saka, world class.
Yeah.
End of story. Yeah. No discussion.
Yeah, I've gone the same. Bukayo Saka. We don't need to say how good he is, do we? Because we say it every week at the moment on how good he is. But yeah, I thought the right wingers. I say right wingers. We had some good people there, didn't we? Have Theo. I think Andreas Shavin as well.
Yeah.
And just looking through the team as well, seeing Serge Gnabry on that team sheet. I know he didn't play much for us, but
yeah,
what a player
he is now.
I know you can't judge him on his best player at the Emirates, but it's good. It's good to see him on those options there. But yeah, Bukayo Saka for me, he's world class, isn't he? And he has to get in this team.
Yeah, that's definitely a great pick, hands down. Yeah, no discussion there. Yeah, what a player he's been. My centre forward I'm gonna go for next. Robin van Persie, 2004 to 12, 194 appearances, 96 goals. I was gutted when he went to the Manx. I really thought he would have stayed and saw his career out at Arsenal, because for those years of 2009 to 12, he was getting 30 goals a season, and the way he was just a complete striker, left or right. But he was lethal, and he was the one player that stood out, season on season. When we were losing a top player, he was the one player that stayed, and I really thought he was going to see it out. But sadly, United came on, and I think he won the league in his first season, didn't he? But look, he'll always be a legend in my eyes, regardless of moving to United. His finishing was just world class, and just a beautiful player, he really lit up when you saw him on the pitch. He was just brilliant. Anytime I went over and saw him, he always scored. But it was those cracking goals. He hammered them in. He was just so precise in his finishing. You could just see he just loved football. So I don't want to give him my pick in my team. Eamon, your pick?
I'm gonna go with Yaya Sanogo.
At least I got part to you.
It has to be Robin van Persie, much as I hate to say it. He's an arsehole. Oh my God, he was a brilliant footballer. And he was brilliant for us. What really pissed me off about Van Persie was when he was the team captain. Okay, guys, I'm just going to keep you in the loop in this moment. I am trying to make sure that the players that the Arsenal have match my ambition. And straight away that says, my fellow professionals aren't good enough for me. And off he went to United, and he was brilliant there as well. But from the time I saw him when he came to us in 04, when he wasn't really getting a game, because remember, we played the Champions League in 06, and he wasn't he was on the bench, not near the team. But the way he developed round 7, 8, 9, 10, he was just lethal. Yeah. I actually think he was the best striker in the world at that time.
Yeah, so do I.
And we had him.
Yeah.
No, Robin van Persie all day long. Despite the fact in this moment that he's an arsehole.
Robin, are you listening? You're welcome back any day.
I mean, I'd love to say Olivier Giroud because we love him. and he had a beautiful beard, and he's just beautiful. He's like Mikel Arteta. I'm totally heterosexual, by the way. Not that that matters in life. I welcome all things, but Olivier was just beautiful. Look at that beard. But he was no. Giroud to me was a real Arsenal legend, proper. Never said a bad thing about the Arsenal, even when he was kind of shown the door in the club. I'd love to give it for Giroud's attitude, but Van Persie to me tops it. That's the way it is.
Yeah, to be honest, on the Olivier Giroud, I was actually surprised the time he actually left. You know, I didn't see that coming really at all. You know?
He wasn't getting a game at us, and he needed to play in the World Cup. And Chelsea,
he was a sad loss.
National Front FC gave him an opportunity to do that. You know,
he was always a true pro at the Arsenal for his 2012. I think he joined in as well. Yeah. Carl, your pick for up front?
So the shortlist side of the three really stood out. But I went for Van Persie. Again, as much as it hurt to pick him, if I've got Fabregas in this team, I had to have Van Persie. Because if you remember how them two played together, he was unbelievable. He was unplayable. And actually, at the time, I remember with Van Persie, we'd obviously lost the likes of Henry, and you know, he really stepped up, and he led that line.
Yeah, he did.
And, I remember feeling like, oh, you know, we've just got to rely on him. You know, when we lost all of the big stars, I felt what's going to happen, and I felt that's when him and Fabregas stood up, and they delivered, didn't they? So as much as I hate to say it, because I do hate what happened afterwards, Van Persie. I did have Giroud down as on the bench for my strikers, and like Eamon said, beautiful guy. But you know what? One thing I will say about Giroud is, if anyone remembers watching Match of the Day around that era, everyone was going, "You're not going to win anything with a striker like Giroud." And if I was him, I'd have it as my ringtone. You're not going to win anything with Giroud as your striker, because look what he's gone on to win. You know, Giroud was a class act, and he still is. And I would still have him back now. I'd give anything for him in this team right now. And I do get battered for that sometimes. But you know, my pick, Van Persie. Going back to that, as much as what he's done as a footballer, and if I was to pick my best Emirates 11, is in that at present. Yeah.
Do you remember the volley away from home at Charlton?
It
was like a kung fu routine. Oh my god!
Yeah,
what a finish! And there was a goal at the Emirates. It was Jordan, I think, our anniversary season, 125th, when we had that crest with the leaf around it. Song gave the ball into him against Everton. He hit it first time. You know, and it's just beautiful. He just has his hands like that, and it just went into.
He
scored a cracking one. Yeah,
quality, wasn't he?
Like he won the Golden Boot for 2 or 3 seasons back to back.
Yeah.
You know, he was that good. He won. You know.
What was his chant again? At the Emirates. She said no. Robert, stop.
Not that one.
We said yes, and we said no, and United said yes. No, look, you can't argue without that pick from the three of us there. Carol, your next pick for forward line.
My second striker, which concludes the team, is I've gone for Aubameyang.
So
because as much as, again, we're talking about, you know what, we had problems with strikers, didn't we? Attitude. But I think Aubameyang for me, he's someone who his career went a little bit like Ozil towards the end of his tenure with us.
He knows his way.
But he was a striker we needed at the time. I think he pretty much won us an FA Cup. He made lockdown a very dark time for a lot of us. He made my lockdown, better. It was an awful time, and I'll always be thankful for him for that. But I thought as a striker, when he was on fire, Auba was brilliant, wasn't he? And so he's my second choice.
Yeah, he completed my team as well, 2018 to 22, and in them 4 years, of 128 appearances, 68 goals. So You can't argue with that, you know. And
I did nearly go Henri for that little cameo that he did. The Emirates, by the way, just
the one against Ajax.
Yeah, it was Leeds, wasn't it? It came on, didn't it? When Leeds.
Yeah,
the first time I scored the goal as a fan.
Yeah, you could include Henri actually.
First time I scored the goal as a fan. Boom. Yeah.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, yeah, what a player.
Yeah.
Lost his way sadly in his last year there, and so the harsh end of Arteta. But yeah, for the 4 years, yeah, look, you can't argue with the goals ratio in that sense. Eamon?
No, you see, this is where I have to say you're both tactically naive. I've already picked my 11. Right? I went with one striker and went with OZZY behind him. So if you look at my 11, it was Szczesny, Sanya, Saliba, Koscielny and Zinchenko. In the middle, Fabregas and Cazorla. On the right, Saka. On the left, Rosicky. And then OZZY and Van Persie.
Beautifully put together.
See, if everybody listened to me, Jonathan, everything be okay.
Well, look, at least we know we'll be all right if Arteta goes to Barca.
Yeah, look, there's 3 budding managers in this show, ready and willing to take over.
I had the worst thing of all the transfers. I had Benzema and Manvilla playing for my side as well, but I never actually come, did they? And I nearly put Mudryk at the left wing as well, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, we're hopefully down the road have a show of our worst 11.
Can I just say, actually, just on the strikers as well, one person I did see on there, and I think we should talk about him as well, is how Eduardo and what a striker he could have been.
Good shout there.
Because
Eduardo would have been one of the greatest goal scorers of all time if it hadn't been for he didn't mean to kick him. Yeah. What was your man's name off Birmingham? Martin Taylor. You know. Oh, he's not that type of player. Well, what type of player is he? He actually couldn't have done worse in the Dublin riots. It was shocking. Almost up there with that gobshite Ryan Shawcross.
Yeah.
He's not that type of player. And he left the field in tears. Aaron Ramsey left the field in jiggets.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, stop.
It was the reaction of Martin Taylor after he'd done the grain, you know, you're not getting by me sort of thing. And he made sure of it.
I get sick thinking about it.
Yeah.
And
he was actually
that was the turning point in that season, you know.
He was back at, I think there was a picture I saw, I don't know whether it was in the paper on Twitter. He's back at the Emirates, I think it was last week or so. You know, and he still has, you know, he still has arson in his heart. You know, he even said it himself. I think it was to the photographer Stuart McFarlane, I think his name is.
Yeah.
What a career he could have had, you know, because his career, he admitted, just didn't happen for him. You know,
do you remember when he came back to the Emirates and scored against us?
Yeah.
The celebration for that was unbelievable. Quite a touching moment.
Yeah. But I also remember there was a game that season in 07-08, Carl, and Jonathan, and that's a league that we let slip away. That one, right?
That's right. Yeah, it was at that day.
We had a brilliant dynamic team that year.
Yeah.
But there was a game away at Everton, and I'll never forget it, because a mate of mine from Sligo, who I did best man at his wedding, landed in the pub beside me. And he texted me and said, are you in the Arsenal Supporters Club? I said, just on my way. He said, is there many there? I said, yeah, I'm there. I was just on my way. And he said, there are many there. I said, not too many. And he sent me back, it's packed. He landed in. He was actually after coming up to a Kanye West gig, but the gig had been the night before. He got the ticket wrong. So he says, I'll go into the Arsenal Supporters Club. And we were playing Everton in December, and Everton went 1-0 up. And before half time, Eduardo got 2 goals in the box, and they were ridiculous goals. It was like the ball is pinging around, and this guy just sticks out with Jimmy Graves' foot and passes it into the goal. He was an unbelievable natural goal scorer. He was unbelievable.
He's robbed of a career, wasn't he? Robbed of a career.
he would have been 5 years with us and would have scored 200 goals, that fella, you know?
Yeah.
Well, 150 anyway, you know? He was a 30 goal a season, man, that guy, you know?
Quality, wasn't he? Yeah, you got a feel for it. Yeah.
I
That's
remember
what I thought was raise it, yeah.
that happened, Carl. That injury, he scored against Man City, I think 1 goal of the month, where he flicked it up in his chest and those torn.
Yeah.
I think Joe Hart was in. What a finish, you know.
If you remember that season, we lost Eduardo and we lost Thomas to a hamstring injury, which took 1.5 years at the same time.
Yeah.
And that kind of ran us out of fuel that season, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you're right there, Eamon. That was the season where we could have won the league. Yeah, we were because after that day we just took a nosedive. Yeah, I think that was the day. Gary, that was the day. Gala sat in the middle of the pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But the funny thing about that day was all the players were sick when Eduardo broke his leg, and we actually forced our way to get 2-1 up against 10 men. But we still weren't on it, and they equalised late. I mean, that if we'd have won that game, it would have been different. Anyway, look, that's 16 years.
Yeah,
ago, you know?
he was right. That's a good show, Carl. Yeah, he's a player that's kind of forgotten a bit, isn't he, Eduardo? You know, because his career was robbed.
He also looked like something now in Narcos.
Yeah, true. Thomas Brolin. Yeah, I think he might have played that part. Actually, he did look familiar, all right.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's a good. Yeah, he would have been another. Look, there were so many good players that's played at the Emirates from 2006, but that's a really good.
I think what you should probably do is if we all call out our 1 to 11, and Martin might get it up on the on some kind of visual, then, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So before we end the show, we go over it again. In goal was Wojciech Szczesny for myself. In defence, an all-French backline, Bakary Sagna, Lauren Koscielny, William Saliba and Gaël Clichy. In midfield was Santi Cazorla, Cesc Fabregas and Mesut Ozil. And up front was the front three of Alexis Sanchez, Robin Van Persie and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. For myself, Carl, your team to run it down?
On Szczesny in goal, Sagna at right back, Clichy at left back. Centre backs are Vermaelen and Saliba. In central midfield, we've got Fabregas and Rice. Right wing, Saka. Left wing, Sanchez. And then up front, we've got Van Persie and Orba.
And Eamon, to run down again?
I have it in goal, Van Persie. Sorry. I'm upside down here. I have a goal, Chesney. In goal, Chesney. Sanya at right back, Saliba and Koscielny, and I've gone for Zinchenko at left back. I've gone for 2 midfield geniuses, Fabregas and Cazorla. I've gone for Saka on the right wing, Rosicky on the left-hand side, Ozil behind the striker, and Van Persie.
Yeah, really good show tonight, lads. Something different, and anyone listening can leave in their comments if they feel free to do their best 11. All is welcome. And would you like to give a shout out to anyone? You mentioned a few names to me in the group during the week.
Yeah, well, there's a lad I know that I was socialising on last Friday, and he likes walking the dog. I think that it's the dog that listens to the podcast rather than him. So Kieran Rowan's dog, congratulations on listening to the podcast. Kieran, I don't know how you're coping, but I'd say the dog has a few views, you know.
To have stuck around 80 episodes to date, you're doing well, Kieran. You can see what a mess out of us are at the moment. No, we do thank everyone that does listen to week on week. Your dedication is a lot more than mine is at the moment. Carl, would you like any shout outs to anyone? Yourself?
No, not really. Not other than Little Dick, because I ain't spoken about him for a while. My trusty sidekick on match days. Yeah, it's always good to have a little dick by your side. And good on you, Rich. Love you, mate.
Little by name, hopefully not by name.
Yeah, you have a little dick by your side. I mean, that's a bit unorthodox, Carl, isn't it? Martin, are you editing this show or what?
I think we'll do a short on that one. It's probably get more views than the whole.
I think it's a lesser spotted dick is what he meant to say.
Oh my God. As I said,
and as Larry Gogan would have said, and it was all going so well.
Sorry, lads. I just
for the hour and
breathe
2
out a
minutes up to that, we were going so
Carl,
well.
the questions didn't suit you.
bit.
True professionalism.
That's it.
You held it together well. Fair play to you. As I said, a really good show, lads. Got a lot in tonight. Would you like anything mentioned, Dame, about the supporters club or anything?
No, I think we're okay.
Yeah.
We have, strangely enough, for a midweek game, the Luton game is oversubscribed. And people looking for tickets for the Luton game, we've offered them Chelsea and Porto. But look, we're doing our best, and we try and get everybody sorted. So it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's good to know. Top work from the Dublin Arsenal supporters.
Your Luton ticket's okay though, John.
So frustrating, so exhilarating.
So exhilarating.
Carol,
would you like anything mentioned from your side, or
no? All's good. All's good. I'll be at Liverpool on Sunday if anyone's from watches the pods around. I'll be in the usual haunts. So yeah, I'll be knocking around. So yeah.
Before that,
Newcastle is my next visit, Carl. So
that's a late kickoff, isn't it?
It's a nighttime game, yeah.
Oh,
nice.
That'll be good.
Nighttime,
Probably rushing about for that one. That'll be good.
Yeah, happy days.
Okay.
I'd just like to thank Eamon and Carl for your 1 to 11s, lads, for the Emirates Stadium Best 11. We didn't copy each other, just like to say, even though we went for nearly pretty much the same 11. But goes to show what class players they all are, that they were all picked. As I said at the start of the show, on Wednesday's show, for the Nottingham Forest review, I'll be joined by Matt Bourne and special guest Liam Gardner from the North Bank Summit podcast. So if you give them lads a like and a listen and a subscribe, be much appreciated. You can catch our show on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel, Instagram and Spotify as always, and our other social media outlets. But until Wednesday's show, thanks for listening and have a good couple of days. Here's to the Arsenal tomorrow night. Cheers, lads.
See you later. Thanks.
See you later, mate.